In the glittering heart of Manhattan, where the skyline shimmered like a crown of diamonds under the evening lights and the air buzzed with the hum of elite conversations, Zara Johnson moved through the opulent halls of Ethan Caldwell's penthouse gala with the quiet efficiency of someone who knew her place but never let it define her limits, her dark skin glowing softly under the chandelier's warm glow as she balanced trays of champagne, flutes, and canapes, her uniform crisp and unassuming yet unable to hide the sharp intelligence in her eyes that had been honed by years of observing the powerful from the shadows. At 25, Zara was the daughter of a Harlem seamstress who had immigrated from Jamaica and a father long gone. But her true heritage shone through her grandmother, a Sicilian immigrant who had fled poverty in Palermo to build a life in New York, teaching Zara the melodic rhythms of Italian over homemade pasta and stories of ancient olive groves, where words weren't just sounds but keys to unlocking worlds beyond her modest apartment filled with second-hand books and dreams deferred. She had mastered the language by age 12, practicing with tapes from the library and conversations with neighbors in Little Italy, blending it with her self-taught French and Spanish from online courses taken during late-night shifts, all while working odd jobs to support her mother's medical bills after a factory accident left her unable to sew. Turning Zara into the family's quiet pillar of strength, her days spent cleaning the homes of the wealthy and her nights devouring novels about intrigue and betrayal that mirrored the whispers she overheard in those very mansions. Ethan's gala was no different. A lavish affair celebrating his latest finance coup, a $500 million merger that solidified his empire in algorithmic trading, where his firm, Caldwell Capital, used cutting-edge models to predict market shifts with eerie accuracy, drawing senators, investors from Dubai, and tech moguls to his rooftop terrace overlooking Central Park, the music from a live jazz quartet mingling with laughter and the clink of crystal glasses. But Zara noticed the undercurrents, the forced smiles and sidelong glances that hinted at rivalries bubbling beneath the surface, especially from those who envied Ethan's rise from a Brooklyn foster kid to a billionaire whose decisions could sway economies. As she circulated with a tray of aged scotch, her ears tuned to the multilingual chatter, Arabic deals being sealed in one corner, Mandarin negotiations in another, Zara's gaze fell on the bartender, a new hire with a nervous twitch, pouring Ethan's favorite single malt into a glass with hands that shook just a bit too much. And in that moment, something felt off, a subtle glint of a vial slipping from his pocket into the liquid, dissolving invisibly but not to her trained eye, sharpened by years of watching for dangers in the homes she serviced, where infidelity and theft were as common as dust bunnies. Her heart raced as Ethan, tall and commanding in his tailored tuxedo with silver streaks in his hair betraying his 50 years of relentless ambition, reached for the glass amid toasts from admirers, his ex-wife's absence, a silent ghost in the room since their bitter divorce 5 years ago over his workaholic ways and rumors of hidden assets. But Zara couldn't stand by, her grandmother's tales of poisonings in old Italian courts flashing in her mind, so she stepped forward boldly, her voice cutting through the din in perfect Italian. Non beva quello. Don't drink that. The words crisp and urgent, causing Ethan to freeze with the rim touching his lip, his blue eyes snapping to hers in confusion, the room's energy shifting as guests turned, whispers rippling like waves, the music faltering for a beat as he demanded in English, "What did you say?" His tone sharp with the authority of a man unused to being interrupted, especially by the help. Zara swallowed hard, her hands trembling slightly but her resolve steel. Switching to English, "I said, don't drink that, sir. I think it's been tampered with," her accent a subtle blend of Harlem streets and Sicilian warmth, and Ethan's face flushed with anger. "Are you insane? This is a $5,000 bottle, and you're the maid, not my bodyguard," his voice booming enough to draw more stares. But Zara held her ground, fumbling for her phone where she had discreetly recorded the bartender's suspicious actions in the kitchen hallway moments earlier. The grainy footage, showing the vial's reflection under the fluorescent lights, a small but damning detail that made Ethan's nostrils flare as he snatched the device, his confusion deepening because Italian fluency from a black maid didn't fit his neatly compartmentalized world of privilege and power. The accusation hung heavy, guests pretending to sip their drinks while eavesdropping, the tension thickening as Ethan barked for his security chief, Victor, to investigate, and in the chaos, Zara spotted a woman near the terrace door, half hidden behind a potted palm. Her posture too rigid, coat too heavy for the warm night, watching with calculated intensity before slipping away into the shadows, leaving only a faint scent of jasmine lingering like a clue. Ethan's world tilted as Victor confirmed the bartender's nervousness, hauling him aside for questioning, the man stammering excuses about a woman who paid him before clamming up, and Ethan turned to Zara with a mix of fury and intrigue. "How did you know Italian? And why risk your job for this?" His voice lower now, the room's eyes still on them, and Zara replied softly, "My grandmother raised me on stories from Florence, sir, and I've seen enough in these houses to know when something's wrong. I couldn't let you drink it." Her honesty piercing through his defenses, making him pause, the untouched glass set down as paramedics were discreetly called to test the liquid, revealing traces of a slow-acting toxin that would have mimicked a heart attack hours later. The party unraveled subtly, guests excusing themselves with polite murmurs, Ethan's mind racing through enemies, rival firms like Vanguard Tech jealous of his merger, or perhaps personal vendettas from his divorce where his ex-wife, Sophia, had accused him of hiding fortunes in offshore accounts, her bitterness public enough to fuel rumors, and as security swept the premises, finding no trace of the mysterious woman but a discarded glove near the exit matching Sophia's style from old photos, Ethan's reliance on Zara grew, pulling her into his study away from prying eyes. The room lined with mahogany bookshelves and a massive desk cluttered with merger papers, where he paced like a caged lion. "You saved my life tonight, but this isn't over. Who are you really?" demanding her background. And Zara shared glimpses of her life. The scholarship to study linguistics at a community college, cut short by family needs. Her jobs cleaning for the elite to pay bills, her ear for languages turning her into an invisible observer of secrets. Earning Ethan's reluctant trust as he handed her a key card for access to his private files. "If you're going to be my eyes, see everything." His voice gruff but grateful, the emotional stakes rising as Zara felt the weight of his world crashing into hers, her humble roots clashing with his empire, yet binding them in shared vulnerability. As the night deepened, Victor reported the bartender's confession under pressure. A woman in a scarf had paid him $10,000 to slip the vial, describing features that matched Sophia's cousin, an insider perhaps, and Ethan's shock deepened, his marriage's end flashing back with accusations of infidelity and financial deceit, making him question loyalties among his staff, his gaze lingering on Zara as the only one who had acted without motive, her entry as savior pulling her deeper into the unraveling betrayal. The gala's glamour faded into dawn's harsh light, Ethan canceling meetings to dive into surveillance footage, Zara by his side spotting anomalies like a tampered lock on the wine cellar, hinting at premeditation, and as they uncovered an anonymous email sent from within the house warning of debts due, Ethan's growing dependence on Zara solidified, her insights revealing patterns he had missed, emotional layers peeling as he confessed his regrets over Sophia. "I buried too many secrets to build this," vulnerability cracking his facade, while Zara's own stakes rose with a threatening note slipped under her apartment door that night. "Stay out or join him," her humble life now entangled in danger. The chapter closing on a cliffhanger as they discovered leaked financial documents from Ethan's safe, proving an insider had betrayed him from within his own home, setting the stage for the storm to come. As the echoes of the gala's chaos faded into the relentless pulse of Manhattan's financial district, where towering glass monoliths reflected the ceaseless churn of global markets and traders barked orders into headsets like generals on a battlefield, Zara Johnson found herself thrust into a hidden world of digital shadows and encrypted deceptions, her role evolving from accidental savior to deliberate investigator under the guidance of a clandestine whistleblower group known as the Sentinel Alliance, a loose network of former analysts and hackers who had defected from Wall Street's underbelly after witnessing the corrosive power of unchecked algorithms. Their base, a nondescript loft in Brooklyn disguised as a co-working space for fintech startups, where exposed brick walls hid servers humming with terabytes of stolen data and whiteboards scrawled with flowcharts of market manipulations that could topple economies overnight. Recruited by Ethan Caldwell's security chief Victor after a discreet background check revealed her untapped potential in pattern recognition from her linguistics studies, Zara arrived at the loft under cover of dawn, her heart pounding not from fear, but from the thrill of purpose, greeted by mentors like Dr. Lena Voss, a sharp-eyed ex-quant from Vanguard Tech with a German accent honed in Berlin's trading floors, who specialized in financial forensics and taught Zara to dissect balance sheets like autopsies, revealing hidden anomalies in transaction logs that whispered of fraud. And Raj Singh, a wiry Indian-American coder who had blown the whistle on insider trading rings and now drilled her in AI detection using open-source tools to simulate neural networks that predicted stock crashes with chilling accuracy, explaining how rival firms deployed phantom trade, a rogue AI designed to fabricate market signals ghost orders that inflated bubbles or triggered sells to crash competitors, all while masking the human greed behind the code. Zara absorbed the lessons with fierce intensity, her mind racing through exercises where she analyzed spoofed trades, spotting linguistic quirks in algorithm-generated reports that betrayed non-native English in the code comments, linking them to offshore developers in Eastern Europe hired by Ethan's rivals to sabotage his merger's afterglow, the $500 million deal now vulnerable as whispers of instability rippled through investor chats, her training sessions blending theory with practice as Lena walked her through decoding encrypted ledgers using frequency analysis on transaction timestamps, revealing patterns that pointed to a coordinated dump of Caldwell Capital stock by anonymous shells, while Raj simulated hacker intrusions on dummy servers, teaching Zara to evade digital tripwires by routing queries through anonymized proxies, her fingers flying across keyboards as she uncovered a trail of breadcrumbs leading to a dark web forum where traders discussed phantom plays orchestrated by Sophia's allies at a competing hedge fund, the moral dilemmas weighing heavy as Zara grappled with the ethics of counter-hacking, questioning whether mirroring their tactics eroded her own integrity, especially when Raj confessed his own regrets over a past operation that bankrupted innocents caught in the crossfire. The high-stakes chases began in earnest when an alert pinged during a late-night session, a breach attempt on Ethan's personal vault traced to a IP in Prague, prompting Zara and Raj to launch a virtual pursuit, bouncing through firewalls like digital ghosts, evading honeypots designed to trap intruders while decoding fragments of Phantom Trade's source code, a malicious algorithm that not only predicted but provoked market volatility by injecting false data into trading platforms, its core logic twisted to favor monopolies by crushing smaller players like Ethan's firm, the tension mounting as Zara's family became targets, her mother receiving anonymous calls warning of debts inherited that chilled Zara to her core, forcing her to relocate her to a safe house in Queens guarded by Victor's team, the personal risks amplifying her resolve as she built alliances with diverse insiders, a whistleblower from Singapore who shared logs of Asian market manipulations tied to Sophia's cousin, a Latina auditor from Chicago exposing gender biases in AI-driven hiring that hid financial laundering, and a veteran trader from Lagos, revealing how phantom trade exacerbated currency crashes in emerging economies, their stories weaving a tapestry of global injustice that fueled Zara's fire, turning the loft into a hub of multicultural strategy sessions where accents blended and ideas sparked like live wires. As the investigation deepened, Zara led a daring data heist on an encrypted cloud server linked to the rival fund, using Raj's custom scripts to infiltrate without detection, her screen glowing with stolen files that exposed Phantom Trade's blueprint, a self-learning AI that adapted to regulatory scrutiny by mimicking legitimate trades, its moral void evident in memos debating acceptable collateral like job losses in manipulated sectors, the dilemma hitting home when Zara uncovered a file targeting her own neighborhood's pension funds, risking her community's savings to short Ethan's stocks, prompting a heated debate with Lena over whether to leak partial evidence anonymously or hold for a bigger strike, the chapter building to a climax with a cyber counterattack where Zara deployed a virus to disrupt the AI's nodes, exposing leaks of rigged trades that sent shockwaves through Wall Street forums, partial revelations that halted a 20% stock plunge but left the full conspiracy intact. Hackers retaliating with a DDoS assault on the loft servers that forced an evacuation under cover of night, Zara clutching a drive of salvaged data as sirens wailed in the distance. Her alliances tested but unbreakable, the moral weight of finance's dark side pressing down, as she realized the fight wasn't just for Ethan's empire but for the souls caught in its gears, ending on a tense cliffhanger as a decrypted message revealed Sophia's direct command to escalate the Phantom, hinting at a larger web of deceit waiting to ensnare them all. As the digital dust settled from the cyber skirmishes that had nearly toppled Ethan Caldwell's empire, with Phantom Trade's nodes crippled and partial leaks rippling through financial news cycles like after-state tremors, Zara Johnson emerged not as a hidden operative but as a beacon of advocacy, her voice amplified in international forums where regulators, activists, and industry leaders converged to dissect the rot at the heart of algorithmic finance, her journey culminating in the co-founding of the Finance Integrity Alliance, a non-profit powerhouse dedicated to ethical reforms that would rewrite the rules of global markets and inspire a wave of transparency across continents. With the rival firms' servers exposed and their executives scrambling under subpoenas, Zara took center stage at the World Economic Forum's Satellite Summit in Davos, her presence a stark contrast to the suited titans around her, dressed in a tailored blazer that echoed her Harlem roots, with subtle cultural motifs woven into the fabric, delivering a keynote that laid bare the human cost of Phantom Trade's manipulations, families in Lagos losing savings to engineered crashes, small businesses in Mexico City bankrupted by false market signals, and pensioners in Chicago betrayed by biased algorithms that favored the elite, her words weaving personal anecdotes from alliance members like the Singapore whistleblower who had lost his home to retaliation, drawing applause from a room once dominated by silence on such injustices, the speech going viral as clips circulated on global networks, sparking petitions that pressured the UN to draft resolutions on AI governance in emerging economies. Dismantling the rival network became a collaborative triumph, Zara forging alliances with regulators from the SEC and European Central Bank, who shared confidential dossiers on similar schemes, activists from groups like Global Witness providing ground-level testimonies of communities devastated by financial predation, and even reformed insiders from Vanguard Tech offering insider blueprints to lilt the reverse on Phantom Trade's remnants, leading to a series of coordinated raids on data centers in Prague and Singapore that seized servers humming with illicit code. The operations broadcast in real time via secure streams to build public trust, Zara coordinating from a command center in New York where diverse voices, African economists, Latin American journalists, Asian fintech innovators brainstormed strategies over virtual roundtables, the broader societal impacts unfolding as community programs blossomed under the Alliance's umbrella. Like workshops in Harlem, teaching residents to audit their own investment apps for biases, or mobile clinics in rural India, empowering farmers to detect predatory lending algorithms, each initiative a testament to Zara's growth from silent observer to global advocate, her speeches at UN panels emphasizing how ethical finance wasn't charity but justice, reconciling with Ethan as he publicly endorsed the alliance with multi-million-dollar grants, admitting his past oversights in a joint TED Talk that humanized him as a flawed leader turned reformer, the emotional layers deepening with visits to affected communities where Zara shared stages with survivors. Their stories of resilience inspiring policy wins like the U.S. Financial Transparency Act, mandating AI audits for all trades over $1 million, and the EU's Algorithmic Fairness Directive requiring diverse oversight boards. The chapter's crescendo built at the Alliance's inaugural summit in London, a grand affair in a historic hall overlooking the Thames, where Zara moderated panels on reclaiming markets for the many, activists clashing productively with executives to forge hybrid solutions like open-source tools for detecting phantom trades. The event drawing Nobel economists and grassroots leaders alike, culminating in a declaration signed by 50 nations, pledging to phase out opaque algorithms by decade's end. Zara's closing address, a poignant call to action that wove her Maid to advocate arc into a universal narrative of empowerment. We rise not by silencing the shadows, but by illuminating them with collective light, earning standing ovations and media acclaim that positioned her as an icon for underrepresented voices in finance. Personal reconciliations threaded through the triumphs, Zara facilitating a mediated dialogue between Ethan and Sophia in a neutral Zurich cafe, where buried grievances surfaced. Sophia's resentment over hidden assets during their divorce, fueling her initial alliance with rivals, Ethan's apologies leading to her quiet support for the alliance through anonymous donations, healing old wounds as they co-authored an op-ed on forging ethics from betrayal, the emotional depth extending to Zara's family as her mother joined a Harlem advisory board, proud tears in her eyes during a local launch event where kids coded simple fairness apps, symbolizing generational legacy. The alliance's impact rippled outward, with policy victories like bans on phantom trading in Asian markets and scholarships for underrepresented youth in fintech at universities worldwide. Zara traveling to forums in Nairobi and Buenos Aires to mentor emerging leaders, her advocacy evolving into mentorship circles that empowered women of color in finance, emphasizing holistic reforms that addressed racial biases in credit algorithms and gender gaps in investment access, the inspirational arc peaking at a gala fundraiser in New York where Ethan surprised her with a Lifetime Achievement Award, not for saving his life but for transforming an industry. The evening filled with testimonials from those she had uplifted, a farmer from India crediting her for saving his land from predatory loans, a trader from Chicago thanking her for exposing biases that restored his career, the chapter closing on a forward-looking note of ongoing vigilance, Zara reflecting on a balcony overlooking the city as Ethan joined her, their partnership now a symbol of redeemed power, vowing to nurture the alliance as a living entity that adapts to new threats like quantum computing risks, ensuring the legacy of ethical finance endures as a beacon for future generations where truth and justice prevail over greed. Inspiring viewers with the message that systemic change begins with one voice but thrives through united action, the narrative fading on hope's horizon as Zara whispers, "We've only just begun to rebuild what was broken, but now, it's unbreakable."